Okay, we're now going to look at the homework problems in 13.6. Let's look at number 4, describe and sketch the surface. So looks like a parabola, has to do with parabolas. X equals 0 is in the YZ plane. We get Z equal 4, so we get the point 0, K, 4, because Y can be anything. If we let Z equal 0, we're in the XY plane. We get x squared equal 4, x equal plus or minus 2, so we get plus or minus 2. Again, y can be anything. And finally, y equals 0, or y can be anything. Okay, so this is the xz plane, or parallel to it. We get z equal 4 minus x squared, which is a parabola, up 4, upside down. So we get this line. We get these lines on the side. In the xy plane, and then we get these parabolas that kind of go through that. So those are guidelines, and we get these parabolas up and down those lines. So it's kind of going to look like, again, it's really hard to draw these things. Like that, which is a sheet. So that's a cylinder surface. That's called a parabolic cylinder. And again, if we go to Maple, let's type in our commands. I'll just do this from scratch. With plots I'm just going to do the standard domains and ranges. And then I'm going to add more points to get a better picture. So you see, you can turn this around and get the parabolas, and you can get the lines and see the shape. Okay, so we were correct. All right, let's look at number 10. We have minus x squared minus y squared plus z squared equal 1. And since the z is positive, that tells me that the main axis is on the z-axis. So if x is 0, I get z squared minus y squared equal 1, which is a hyperbola in the yz plane. And if y equals 0, I get z squared minus x squared equal 1, which is a hyperbola in the xz plane. And if I get z equals 0, I get x squared plus y squared equal negative 1, so I get nothing in the yz plane. If z equals a constant, let's investigate this a little further. I get x squared plus y squared equals k squared minus 1. So if k is bigger than 1 and less than -1, then I get circles. If k is between 1 and -1, I get nothing, because that's going to give me positive terms equal to a negative term. So I have circles and hyperbolas. So on the YZ plane, I have hyperbola, and then the XZ plane, I have hyperbola, so it's coming out straight at us, and this we can't see, and this is coming straight out at us, and that's going to be behind us, and then we have circles. If we're bigger than 1, but we are, because that's 1 and -1. Okay, so this is called hyperboloid of two sheets. Again, we're going to go to Maple. Let's type this in. Actually, I'm just going to copy and paste. That's easiest. Okay, and we'll have minus x squared minus y squared plus c squared equal to 1. And you see that that's what we have. So we were correct again. Now the question is, part B says, what if the negatives in different places? So B says, what if you have x squared minus y squared minus z squared equal 1? Well, you have the same shape, you have two negative signs. That means you're going to have the same traces, but the main axis is the x-axis this time, because that's the one that's positive. So that tells us that the main axis is the x-axis. So this picture we just drew is just going to be rotated. And since this z was positive, the main axis was the z-axis. Let's look at 12. If x is 0, we're in the yz plane. So we get 4y equals z squared. Y equals z squared over 4, which is a parabola. Or if x is any constant, we get y equal z squared plus k squared all over 4, which is the same parabola. So when the yz plane, it's going to go like this. Alright, if y equals 0, we get x squared plus y squared equals 0, so we just get the point 0. Z squared. You get 0, 0, 0. So if y equal k, That's parallel to the XZ plane. We get 4k equal x squared plus y squared. We get circles if k is bigger than 0. So we get circles. And again, you can tell by the traces what we're going to end up getting if you do enough of these. If z equals 0, you get 4y equal x squared. Y equal x squared over 4, you get another parabola. If z equal k, we get y equal x squared plus k squared over 4, which is again parabola. And this is laying flat, so it's going to come like that, and that part you're not going to be able to see. And then you have these circles. So we get a circular paraboloid. Again, let's check that on Maple. I'm going to go back and type it in. For y equal x squared plus y squared. I forgot my times. That's a big mistake with Maple. Oh, this should have been a z. So here we go. We get what we thought we would. Again, you can see the traces are parabolas and circles. Okay, let's look at 16. You can kind of see what you're going to have here. If you cross out the x, you have an ellipse. If you cross out the y, you have a hyperbola. If you cross out the z, you have a hyperbola. So you have two hyperbolas with ellipses. This is a hyperboloid of one sheet. So if x equals 0, and we divide everything by 100, we're going to get y squared over 4 plus z squared over 100 equal 1. That's an ellipse. If y equals 0, we get z squared over 100 minus x squared over 25 equal 1. That's a hyperbola. And if we have z equals 0, we get y squared over 4 minus x squared over 25 equal 1 is a hyperbola. Let's see how these fit together. Okay, we have an ellipse. On the y-axis, it's 2. On the z-axis, it's 10. Let's put it down so it's kind of skinny. In the xz plane, we have hyperbola on the z-axis. And that's going to kind of go like that. And then here, when y is 2, we have hyperbola, and that's laying flat like this. So if you, let's draw that using Maple. Z squared minus 4 times x squared, don't forget the times, plus 25 times y squared equal 100. Let's see, did I type that in right? Maybe we'll have to put some more points in there. Let's type this in again. I don't think that's what it's supposed to look like. Minus 4 times x squared plus 25 plus z. Well, that's what it gives us. Oh, that's right. Okay, we just have to, it's a hyperboloid of one sheet. We have to put a better range in here. 20. I think the z needs more. There we go. So if we spin it around, we can see that that's what we were supposed to get. So sometimes you have to adjust your domain and ranges to get a picture, to get a good picture. Okay, let's look at, here we don't have to graph them, we're just going to classify them. 30. And that's a cone. If you look in your text, page 872, one of the variables is squared is on the left side of the equation, and then you have the other two positive, so that's going to be a cone. 32, one of the variables is not squared, and one of the squared ones has a negative, so that's going to be the hyperbolic paraboloid. And 34, you need to complete the square. So I put all my y terms together. So I'm going to add 4, but we really added 16. So we have to subtract 16. And here I take half of 4 squared, add 4, and I'm going to subtract 4 here. So I had to complete the square. The constant drops out. All that goes. So I have x equal, I guess I could divide everything by 4. And now I have an x term, one term that's not squared, and there's a plus sign. So that is an elliptic paraboloid. And the center, notice, is changed. It's going to be 0, 2, 2 is a vertex. Okay, so hopefully this will help you with some of your homework problems.